and welcome back to my channel. We're going to be talking about the lunar eclipse this spring and how it affects each rising sign, the lunar eclipse. And then I'm going to talk about where you're going to have a lot of luck also happen, because May is the beginning of Jupiter ingressing into Taurus, and this is going to activate a lot of other themes in your chart also. Also, if you want personal readings with me one-on-one, I will do them with you on Patreon for $10 a month. So there's going to be a breaking away, a release of something you've been holding on to for a while that you know is dead, you know it's stale, you know that it needs to go. There is going to be an opposition to Uranus. I don't really see this as imminent change or surprising change. I just see this as like it's been a long time coming. The biggest theme around this eclipse for me personally is just that it's opposing Mercury retrograde. I feel like there's going to be some new information that's brought up, but it's not necessarily valid or like factual. It could be like misinformation. It could just be like a continuing pattern of something that you're already fatigued around, you're already kind of annoyed with, and it just gets kind of more infused or agitated. And I think this is just why you end up breaking away from a pattern, cutting something off in your life, and just being ready for something new. I think spring is all about kind of releasing the dead of winter and starting again, starting all over again. So I feel like this is like a rebirth in some ways. Then on the 16th of May, we have Jupiter moving into Taurus, and it stays there for a year until like May 25th of 2024 or something like that. I don't know the exact day, but I know it's a year-long transit. Aries risings, you have the you have Jupiter moving into your second house and the lunar eclipse in May in your 8th house. So there could be a release of debt, of other people's expectations on you or other people's input in your life. House deals, yes, with death, but also it deals with other people's impression of you, their input, their money towards you, what's on your credit cards, your student loans. So you could be changing your business model. You could be changing how you interact with customers if you have your own business. You could be minimizing credit card debt, spending a lot less on credit cards, or being more aware of this. And also maybe just kind of tweaking how you deal with other people's input, perhaps even learning how to like put up a boundary between you and other people that might be much needed. And then Jupiter moves into your second house like a week later, and this really cushions your bank account. So like if you had to have a lot of debt and you're hurting, maybe there is a little bit of lighter energy in your bank account that makes you feel a little bit like alleviated. Also, this could be a period of time where you are learning how to cut off how other people treat you. Maybe it's not fair, and instead focus on the relationships that matter to you and how they make you feel, instead of constantly trying to cater to what other people want from you. Taurus risings, you have Jupiter moving into your first house, and you have the lunar eclipse in your 7th house. So the lunar eclipse in your 7th house is going to deal with themes around your interactions with quite literally everyone. So Taurus risings, I imagine that interactions with people on the day of the lunar eclipse will be very erratic or crazy, because the 7th house deals with your interactions with quite literally every single person you come into contact with. It's not so much a romantic house that I think a lot of people talk it up to be, and it's okay if some people adopt the theory that it is. Their opinion. I am entitled to my own opinion. But anyways, so like I said earlier, if you're working customer service jobs or something, that they just prepare for every interaction to be just very like, like a lot of it is just out of left field. Some of it will feel kind of random or unusual. Try to just kind of let it roll off of your back, because if you take everything to heart that day, it's going to make you a lot more fatigued than you need to be. And also, I think one of the things that you're moving away from within your relationship dynamics on this eclipse is like you're asserting more boundaries and you're being more clear about your needs. You've been disrespecting your own boundaries to accommodate other people's demands for a while, and this is like a period of time where you do a complete 180 on that. I hope that's the right term, 180. You change it around, you enforce your own boundaries. I don't know. You will have Jupiter moving into your first house for the next year, so this is a very positive transit. It's good with how you go after your goals, how you perceive yourself. It's a really good self-love moment too, as someone who just had Aries or Jupiter and Aries on my ascendant. I definitely feel like I feel more stable and secure within myself now that I'm like leaving this chapter, whereas maybe before that I didn't really have like a solidified sense of my needs, which now I feel I do have more fully. So this is going to be a period that happens for over a year. I think that this is going to be a great time for you to just work on self-love, self-improvement, but also really just continuing those boundaries that you've enforced from the 5th onwards. Gemini risings, you guys will have the lunar eclipse in your 6th house, and you guys will have Jupiter enter your 12th house for a year. So the lunar eclipse in your 6th house you're needing to break away from certain daily routines or lifestyle choices that are just not really serving you. You may have picked up some bad habits, or you might have some unhealthy coping mechanisms at times, and this is a period of time where you really need to switch something out. Something's not working for you. You need to let it go. You need to move forward, and you need to get rid of a certain habit or a certain thing that you're doing or that you're keeping around you that might not be that great. You will have Jupiter sitting in your 12th house for a year, and I really feel like this is about cultivating your solitude, cultivating your sense of peace, prioritizing your own needs over everyone else's. I think you're going to find a lot of mental health support. You could find yourself journaling more, going to therapy. Like, there's just a lot of themes around you being more cushioned on a mental headspace wise, and I think that's a great thing for you. So this is a really great transit for really just supporting yourself and cultivating your solitude and finding your own sense of peace in like the chaos of your daily routine. For Cancer risings, you guys are going to have the lunar eclipse in your 5th house, and then Jupiter will move into your 11th house. So when the lunar eclipse sits in your 5th house, you could be going through some kind of breakup, marital change. There could be something happening if you have children with your children, because it is the house of fertility also, but don't worry, I'm not predicting anything around fertility because I don't feel like that's ethical. And also, I feel like this is going to be kind of a point in time where you are changing a certain hobby or passion. I think you're realizing that something that you used to really enjoy, you no longer do, and you're not going to continue to force something if it just doesn't work. I do think you're going to be breaking away from certain roles or oh my god. You're going to be maybe changing around a certain hobby. You might have had something that you were really passionate about and then you no longer feel passionate about. This is a great time to change that. Maybe go on more dates, maybe stop going on dates altogether, maybe change your spouse or significant other altogether, or this is going to be like a period of time where what you take pleasure in, who you take pleasure in is being deeply modified or like altered for your benefit. So it's like being honest to yourself about what works and what doesn't is so important throughout this period. And then when Jupiter moves into your 11th house on the 16th, you're going to notice a lot of ease around social media platform growth, more likely to go viral unexpectedly, more likely to network, find a lot of friends. Maybe friends are popping up out of the woodwork that you haven't heard from in forever and they're reaching out to you and they want to hang out with you. The next year for you is going to be very, very social. And in some ways it could feel overwhelming because you might not have felt that social in a while, but I feel like this is perhaps for some people you could be going through like a breakup on the 5th and then going through like the life of being single, dating, going out with friends, like starting on the 16th onwards for 8 years. So like it could be like a self-discovery time. People who are growing social media platforms, this is so great for you, like launching products, starting the YouTube channels, all of that. This is a great time for you because of that transit. Leo risings and lunar eclipse will sit in your 4th house, and this could be a transition within your home. Maybe someone in your family dynamic that lives with you is moving out, maybe you're moving out, maybe you're buying a new home, maybe you are selling a home or breaking a lease. Like this could be something around like your home environment needs some kind of modification that just hasn't been working for a while. If you have like a crappy roommate or an unhealthy living situation, maybe something about it you're ready to break free of, you're ready to stand up for yourself more. There could be something around that area that just needs a little bit more attention. You're going to have Jupiter move into your 10th house, so for this next year I feel like you're going to be making money moves. There's going to be a lot of focus on you from higher ups, from colleagues, from people around you. People are just taking more notice in you, and I feel like that could be a little intense because it's like your reputation is that focus or what everyone's kind of emphasizing on. But at the same time, it's more important that you are doing what you're passionate about and what kind of career speaks to you. So whether this is about you landing your dream job, starting your dream job, or nothing even about jobs, if this is just about you elevating your sense of self and networking and doing things that make you happy, this could be a period of time for you to work towards your aspirations or your goals in life, whether that is fulfilling a bucket list or maybe going back to school. Virgo risings, you guys will have the lunar eclipse in your 3rd house. So in my personal opinion, I don't think the eclipse is that eventful for you unless you have a lot of Scorpio placements or Taurus placements. I feel like this is you're gonna maybe notice a lot of people around you going through it, but it's not really affecting you that intimately. It will affect you in terms of like jarring conversations might be had, maybe an argument with someone might happen, something just very intense around speech, but nothing so much like pivotal in your home, family, money, like things like that aren't so much touched on. Now, it is in the house of short travel, like cars, so I'm not going to say something crazy is going to happen to your car, but just like driving a bit more carefully that day is just something to keep in mind. Not predicting anything negative, I'm just saying the house rules cars. I don't know. So, and then also Jupiter will move into your 9th house over the next year, and this is going to be such an important year for you to travel, get out of your comfort zone, try new things, like go after a certificate, go after, get back into school. The more that you enrich yourself and step out of your comfort zone, the more happy you're going to really be. There's going to be a lot of peace that comes with it. So the most important thing that you can do over the next year is travel. Like, go to new places, even if it's just driving to your getting in your car and going to like a town over. Just anything around getting out of your usual routine will bring you a lot of luck and opportunity. Libra risings, you're going to have the lunar eclipse in your second house of your bank account and what you value, how you care about other people, and that could be changing. But then Jupiter will move into your 8th house over the next year, and a lot of people could be popping up out of the woodwork, really letting you know how much you mean to them, letting you know where you stand with them. Themes around your credit cards could be alleviated, debt could be alleviated, things like that. Now, I'm not saying that everything around how people express themselves to you over the next year is positive, but I do think that there's going to be like a positive sense of who people are and who people show you they are. You should just like believe them and follow suit with that, because like luck is on your side in terms of like seeing through people's intentions. So I really like that for you. Scorpio risings, you're gonna have the lunar eclipse in your 1st house. I think this is going to be a huge change of self, of like transformation, whether you're going through like an abrupt makeover in your internal life, like or even physically. I will say though, I don't recommend anyone do any kind of beauty modifications around this eclipse week. I would at least wait until like the following week or two, because however you intend things to be during an eclipse, it's not going to be. So that's like the thing about predictive astrology. Like, we can all intend or we can all theorize what we think will be, but astrology has a funny way of like never wanting to be pegged down a certain way. Like, it's going to surprise you and leave you wondering always. So with that being said, hold off on beauty modifications, but this is going to be an awakening of like standing up for yourself. I think you've endured a lot of being the observer, taking a backseat in your own life, and now you're ready to like grab your life by the horns, so to speak. I think you're fed up with something. I think you're going to change something about your boundaries or who you talk to, and I think this is going to be good for you. Jupiter will move into your 7th house, and then all of your interactions with people over the next year will just feel a lot easier. I'm not going to say that like everything is going to be rainbows and butterflies 24/7, because that's not practical, but I do think you're going to notice an easier time connecting with people, getting conversations across, and also just feeling understood without having to overly explain yourself over the next year. Sagittarius risings, you guys are going to have the lunar eclipse in your 12th house, and then you guys are going to have Jupiter move into your 6th house over the next year. So the lunar eclipse in your 12th house, you are going to feel maybe even psychic. You could have dreams that are very predictive to how it plays out for you. You might have had a certain feeling about someone, and maybe like information is brought to light around the lunar eclipse where you're like, wow, that person is a hidden enemy, or that person did have a hidden motive or agenda. So really the most important thing for this eclipse for you is just to trust your gut. Take time to rest, because it's in your 12th house of, I don't know, like hidden things. It's in your 12th house of, when I think of the 12th house, I think of being in my bed with my phone turned off. No one can reach me. I'm not reachable. I'm not trying to be. I'm reading my books or something. I'm watching a good film. Like, I'm just focusing on my mental health. So like doing things to support that around that time period is so important for you. I would say things like limit wine, switch to herbal tea around that time, limit interactions with people. If you're feeling drained or fatigued, there's a reason for that, and overall just like listening to yourself more. These are my dogs. On a positive note though, when Jupiter moves into your 6th house for the next year, you're going to notice a lot of positivity around your health goals. You could find yourself getting into like a workout habit more, going on walks more. There's just like a lot of support around your daily routine and your lifestyle choices that will be supportive to you. So for Capricorn risings, you're going to have the lunar eclipse in your 11th house of networking, friendships, social media. There could be some funky stuff happening on social media. I'd say limit your interactions with people. Try not to argue with people online over like things that are just like debates. You know what I'm talking about. I don't need to explain this to you. You know what it is to like get sucked into a rabbit hole of something that might not even concern you, that isn't even a hot topic or a big like political topic, but it's just like people arguing over preferences of food. Like, you know, just like lower your argumentative side. But also this could be a time where you are unfollowing a lot of people and subscribing from certain memberships. Like, you are just kind of really wanting to change how you consume social media or how you consume, you know, networks, politics, activism, things around you, and really validate your own beliefs a little bit more, be more authentic to yourself. You're also going to have Jupiter move into your 5th house for the next year. This is the house of marriage, children, passion, sexuality, romance. So in some ways you could be having a very great romantic life over the next year. You could be more true to your passions, what you have pleasure in. Oh my god, sorry about my dogs. You could find yourself getting engaged. You could find yourself, maybe you want to start a family. These are all things that could be on brand with 5th house. You could just be changing your hobbies. Maybe you like to knit, maybe you no longer like to knit, now you want to read books for fun and review them. Like changing just like what you enjoy. Aquarius risings, the lunar eclipse is going to be in your 10th house. It's going to be a huge career change or pivot. You could be having some kind of conversation with your boss. You could be leaving your job. You could be applying to a new one, or just launching your own career, like starting your own business or startup. And Jupiter moves into your 4th house later in the month. And this is the house of family, of your own family, of starting a family, of your home. This next year, there's going to be a lot of luck and abundance around these things. Plan accordingly based on what you want, you know, like basically how you want your family life to look like, how you want your home life to look like, what you visualize that to be. Keep that in mind, that Jupiter is sitting in that 4th house. So like if you don't want family expansion, not saying that this will happen, but you know, taking extra precautions sexually. Like these are things like to keep in mind. Also, you could be moving in with someone, moving away from someone. Like these are all things that could also be happening. But ultimately, you're just kind of remodifying what feels like your sacred home space to you, and that is there's a lot of luck and abundance though. Like you're gonna have a lot of ease with family dynamics. There's gonna be a lot of positivity around interactions with family. So these are all things that are very helpful for you. Pisces risings, you are going to have the lunar eclipse in your 9th house. There could be a lot of new information coming at you. If you are traveling around this time, I can imagine there'd be just like some delays or some funkiness around the things that you want to accomplish. And you could be changing your major in college. You could be deciding to go back to school, not like quit school entirely. You could be changing where you move. Like these are all things that could be happening around this time period with this lunar eclipse. But then Jupiter moves into your 3rd house for the next year. So this is very lucky for things like if you don't have a license and you really want a license, you're probably going to have an easier time passing, buying a car, driving. Like you might have, at least you might be more likely to have easier time on the roads, like no road ragers around you, no one bumping into you, like nothing like that. And also communication and speech will be amplified. So like there'll be a lot of ease around conveying your points without like offending people being more receptive to you and understanding. There's just an easier time talking to people, like in general. And then also maybe some ease with intention in any kind of sibling relationships. Those could be alleviated, and maybe you like get closer to your siblings around this time period. So overall, that completes this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and all my social media links are down below.